doing whatever it takes.
President Barack Obama signed 23 executive orders last week that restrict access to military-style rifles and ammunition and strengthen background checks on prospective gun owners. It's considered one of the toughest gun laws in recent decades and triggered a universal panic among Americans to stock up before gun shops sell out. Here on Guam, gun sales have also increased, even though the territory is known to have some of the toughest gun laws in the nation.
We've had good sales, better than good sales for the past, the whole month of December and also January.
That's James Parks, owner of Unified Firepower. Parks manufactures ammunition locally right in his shop. While he doesn't have a display case of firearms, he does sell guns and rifles, but they're locked up in safes.
Per piece of paper, that's one sale.
Yeah, in some cases it's more than one, but usually one. Okay, just consider one. There's about probably 20 of them in there.
And usually in a month, how many do you typically sell?
Sometimes one or two.
And within the last month, you've sold about 20?
In the last month, well, just this week I sold 3 on Monday, 3 on Monday, 2 on Tuesday, 2 on Wednesday, 3 on Thursday, and 1 today.
The typical buyer, well, there isn't one. Parks says they're all different ages, but have one purpose.
All ages.
All ages?
And they're buying them because they want them.
Men and women?
Men and women. I sold one to a woman yesterday.
But despite the spike in gun sales, Parks emphasizes that it's not easy to own a gun on Guam. In fact, he notes that the island is a model for strict gun laws.
I have a form here that they fill out, which has a bunch of questions on it relative to are you the purchaser of the gun, and then all kinds of, are you a felon, are you a drug addict, are you this, that, and the other thing. That there form is a permanent record.
Another ammunition supplier, Jeff Nelson, who owns The Firing Line, tells PNC News that unlike most jurisdictions in the U.S., Guam even has strict gun laws on private gun sales. The private sale of guns on Guam requires both the seller and the buyer to register with records and ID at the Guam Police Department, something Nelson says isn't always the case in most parts of the U.S. The executive orders are meant to reduce gun violence, and while Parks agrees, he says it doesn't address the underlying issue behind the gun violence.
You see the recent shoot-em-ups that we've had, that is Arizona, even Columbine,
Colorado.
Virginia Tech, Colorado, Sandy Hook. Every one of them was done by people who are certifiably insane. Okay? Not NRA members, not members of the general public, very definitely not law-abiding citizens.
While Parks is a member of the National Rifle Association, which has heatedly opposed President Obama's initiatives on gun control, he believes the public needs to be educated about responsible gun ownership. One person who supports Obama's actions is Simon Sanchez High School teacher Andre Bainham. He responds to critics who have accused the president of trying to abolish Second Amendment rights.
The NRA is a interest group, and I really don't think that they're in favor or they're in support of the Second Amendment or even trying to defend the Second Amendment. I think they're there for the gun manufacturers. President Obama reiterated, and I think a lot of people on the left of the issue also reiterated, this is not an attack on the Second Amendment, it's just an attack on the types of guns that we should be having out there as the people in regular civil societies.
Bainham believes gun lobbyists are just out to protect the firearms and ammunition industry.
Guns in the United States, the sales of guns each year is a $13.6 billion a year business. That's who they're backing. That's who they're for. That's why the gun lobbyists don't want restrictions, because there's going to be restriction on sales.
Bainham also responds to a number of other arguments made in the gun debate.
Other arguments like, oh, there's more people die in car crashes, but cars were made for transportation. Airplanes, people die in airplanes, but they're made to transport people. The only reason why guns were made for one reason, and that's just to kill.
While he favors restrictive gun laws, Bainham says,
I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe that, we live in a very, tough society. Things happen. There are criminals out there. But as far as the types of guns that were used at the movie theater, at the school, at the mall, and that kind of thing, I don't really think those type of guns have a place in just our regular normal society.